With that being said, Belle Aubrey. I have not seen her 2 videos. She did 2 videos on Willie Mac. This shit's probably going to take a while. This is her response and why YouTube agrees with me.
So recently, as I'm sure a lot of you are already aware, there's a creator who made a video regarding my stance on Eugenia's content either getting removed or age restricted in order to protect children and minors from the dangers of pro-Anna and inspo content. While it is certainly fine for people to have a different opinion than me, although my stance is also YouTube's stance, which we'll get into in a little bit, this creator went out of his way to paint me in the literal worst light that he possibly could. Like, I started watching the video and there was zero objectivity. There was no mention of why I might have the stance that I had, and I remember thinking as I was watching that this was not an objective critique or audit as he was trying to frame it. This was literally a hit piece meant to smear me as much as he possibly could. Like, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought this creator was getting paid to do this because of the amount of vitriol that he had towards me in the video. Now, it's one thing to present an objective opposing viewpoint, but it's a
Whoa. Damn, he unironically on the payroll. Holy shit.
completely separate thing to try to completely disparage the individual who has the opposing viewpoint while also trying to villainize them at every turn. And that's exactly what this guy tried to do in his video. So I want to take the time today to address some of the criticisms, and I also want to clear the air regarding my stance on the situation, and I also want to bring up some points that he seemingly just forgot to mention, probably because they didn't fit the narrative he was trying to push. But what I find really weird is he followed me on Twitter a few months ago, and I've had the same stance publicly this entire time. Not only that I've had the same stance publicly, but that I haven't been talking about Eugenia recently. My last video on her was back in August, and that video I only did because other people were trying to skew the perspective that I have on Eugenia, and I was trying to clear the air. And I've also been public about the fact that I don't want to talk about her anymore because she really does trigger my own ED. But even before that, my last video on Eugenia was back in May. I think it was May 5th specifically. So my last video on Eugenia was in August, and before that it was in May. May. It's now October. So where was this fake moral outrage before? Why is it just coming now? Where was it for the last year when I publicly held the same exact stance that they are complaining about now? I get that there's kind of a lull in the commentary community right now, and there's not a lot for people to talk about, but trying so hard to grasp at this situation, this manufactured drama, in order to have something to talk about is really sad.
So what she's doing right here is she's doing a couple things. First of all, she's pointing out that she's speculating that Willie Mac's being paid to do this. I don't know if she actually thinks that or if that's just hyperbole, but she's also saying shit like, wow, topics are low. I held the same opinion before and now I'm getting shit on now. I mean, sometimes people just like, I don't know if anybody was really paying attention to her videos back then. Now they're paying attention and now they have a problem with it. So like, how does that disparage the argument being made there, right? Just because it takes a minute for people to discover what your stance is and talk about it. I mean, a lot of topics in the commentary community are shit that could be talked about years before, but only now get addressed. Like, I don't really know what relevance that has to the conversation there.
Saw people trying to paint him as this fair and objective creator.
Holy
so I went back and
shit.
Frenchiest Fry funded $99.99.
Damn.
For the road August.
Thank you so much, Frenchiest Fry, with the $100 super chat. Holy fuck. That is a big one. I appreciate that. And thank you, Ridley, for the 5.
And he literally called D'Angelo Wallace, of all people, the biggest douchebag on the internet. D'Angelo Wallace. Now, do we see any of this fair and objective criticism thrown at anyone else who's problematic? This creator also framed Katie Morton as some kind.
Well, I'm confused here. Do we see? What did she say?
For that, try Silas.
Do we see any of this fair and objective criticism thrown at anybody who else who's problematic? Yeah. So far, nothing's been said here.
Kind of hero. This Katie Morton. Now, either with all of his objectivity, he just
Katie Morton sucks. I've always stood by that. Katie Morton's terrible.
Didn't care about letting his audience know what kind of person she is, or he just did zero research into her. If you want to watch some videos that are actually objective about some of the horrible things Katie Morton has done, including promoting an app that was really shady and exploited users with depression, then you should check out either Uncle
Better help.
Herman or iNabber's videos, but there are a bunch of other videos that are really good about this. Another point that I found really interesting is his insistence that I am a T channel. Now, if you look at this clip from his video, what do you notice about every content creator on the screen right now? They're all either a woman or they're LGBT. So...
Oh no. Oh no. Wait a minute. I don't think that's the fault of Willie Mac though.
They're all either a woman or they're LGBT. So, let me get this straight. If you talk about current events on YouTube, then you're a T channel. Well, as long as you're LGBT or a woman. But if you're a straight guy, then it's just commentary, bro.
When a T channel says rotten stuff about Gabby or the commentary guys, it's so...
So we're getting into the discussion of what constitutes as a commentary channel and what constitutes as a T channel. T channels do not like being called T channels. Thank you for the bail money. I appreciate that. Oh, wait.
Ryan McDonough funded $10. bail money.
I just realized. Okay, I guess you're unbanned if you're super chatting. So this is a problem here, right? It's like if we get into these like stupid semantic arguments about what constitutes as tea and what constitutes as commentary, a lot of people are like, well, is tea channels just women and gay people? Is that what it is? No, it has more to do with the topics that are being discussed. And really, honestly, the format.
True Crime Stories THS funded $5. Glad you're doing all right, Augie.
Thank you.
Have a great stream.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that.
Okay, we could take it.
When a T channel says rotten stuff about Gabby or the commentary guys, it's okay. We could take it.
Okay, got it. I also find it really funny because Sloan literally uses his platform. He's brave enough to use his platform to call out some of the most prolific predators on YouTube and in Hollywood. So how dare you call Sloan and reduce his content to just being tea? His videos, I looked at his channel. He talks about like Tati Westbrook. So that's commentary? But talking about grooming minors and predators in Hollywood, that's just tea? Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I also reached out on Twitter to debate this guy.
See, I don't know like what the point of even engaging in this discussion is. Because I don't think it really matters, like, if you're a tea channel or if you're a commentary channel, it more matters, like, what are you doing that's wrong? So, there we go. Didn't expect Augie to start going off. Well, it was on my mind. I had to get it off my plate, so, yeah.
On the whole Eugenia Cooney Thinspo content situation, and this was the objective and intellectual response that I got.
Bitch, you still got me blocked. Just shut up and apologize to Eugenia Cooney.
So no, I will not be debating him. But also, if you take a look at his content overall, such as his video getting upset at YouTube for banning Alex Jones or other extremist and awful creators, you can start to paint a picture of his views on, let's just say, progressive issues. Now,
oh, this is gonna be a really fun debate. Oh no. Oh shit, dude. This is gonna be a really interesting debate. We got Pastel Belle coming in. I don't think that's the real one.
Pastel Belle funded $3. I'm just mad because I really want a penis.
Okay.
I wish I was born as a man so I could have white privilege. Damn you, Augie. You and your cork shouldn't exist.
Good one.
Hashtag fuck testosterone.
Good one, dude. So she is upset that Willie Mack is upset that YouTube banned Alex Jones and other extremist awful creators. Oh no.
Before we get into the specific video in question, I do just want to clarify that I have never, ever advocated for a single person to go and send any hate towards Eugenia Cooney or harass her at all. That has just not happened. I know
You just sent people to the petition, though, which I would argue is a form of harassment.
some people are lying right now, and some people are trying to milk the situation for views and make it seem like I'm this horrible person, and that's just what I like to do, but I actually haven't. In fact, I've always said the exact opposite. I have told people to not go and comment on her videos. I've told people specifically to not harass her, and if you feel like you must do something, you can block and report the content, you know, so you don't get triggered by it when YouTube puts it on the trending page. So if you think I'm the kind of person that's ever going to bully or harass,
Wait, did she just say report?
to not go and comment on her videos. I've told people specifically to not harass her, and if you feel like you must do something, you can block and report the content. You know,
Report?
Willis funded $3.95. So, Belle herself stated that she'll debate you.
Yep, as far as I know, that's still on the table. In fact, she just DM'd me like a few minutes ago.
so you don't get triggered by it when YouTube puts it on the trending page. So if you think I'm the kind of person that's ever going to bully or harass someone, then please just unfollow me on everything. I have never, ever called for YouTube to ban people simply because they have EDs, implying that I think all people
You do realize, though, that when you report a video, it has a chance of going down and applying a strike to the channel. And when they get 3 strikes, that means they're banned.
who suffer with an ED should be banned from YouTube automatically is just not true. Like, that's just a straight up lie, which is very rich coming from someone whose entire argument was based on me supposedly lying. Now, I just want to reiterate, this creator is lying to you by implying in any way, shape, or form, either directly or indirectly, that I support removing people from YouTube simply because they are sick. I have never thought that. By that...
All right, let's do some research real quick. Let's see, Willie Mack Show. Go to his channel. Pastel Belle's Lies and Deception. Where was it now? Where was it? The Eugenia Cooney petition reached 37,000 signatures, which triggered a notification to Susan and YouTube and Twitch CEOs. Please protect your communities and remove or age-restrict content creators who profit from self-harm and influence vulnerable young fans in the process. So here she is asking for that content to be removed. So how does she's saying that she never, let me back that up.
Now, I just want to reiterate, this creator is lying to you by implying in any way, shape, or form, either directly or indirectly, that I support removing people from YouTube simply because they are sick. I have never thought.
Oh, because they're sick. So she's going to say, well, no, I want them removed because they influence young fans. Okay, but she has to prove that. She can't just say that. She has to show that Eugenia Cooney has said, anorexia is awesome. You should be like me. I'm the ideal body type. She has to show that, which I don't think she has. TLDR of the video, Willie Mack is a misogynist bigot. No one needs to listen to him. Belle is so dishonest.
Thought that. By that logic, since I have an ED, I would also need to be deplatformed, and I would also have to advocate for the deplatforming of anyone who suffers with an ED. And I would have to title my videos, "Everyone who suffers with an ED should be banned from YouTube," or something like that. But I didn't do that, and I don't think that, and I never have thought that. What my belief is, and what my belief always has been, is that people who weaponize their EDs in the form of thinspo or pro-ana content, who use it for shock value and for profit with zero regard for who they're influencing, should be removed or age restricted.
But the onus is on her to prove that that's what's taking place. And to my understanding, she hasn't.
When you're a creator and you have a large audience, you're called an influencer. And influencers influence people. It's why they're called influencers. And according to YouTube's community guidelines, there's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with that influence. If you look at YouTube's community guidelines, you'll see that they actually agree with me. If you look at their community guidelines page, you'll see that there's a bunch of different ones, but if you scroll down, you'll see one that says harmful and dangerous content. And if you read through it, it says eating disorders. Content that praises, glorifies, or encourages viewers to imitate anorexia or other eating disorders. Eating disorders are characterized by abnormal or disturbed eating habits, which negatively affect a person's health. And YouTube agrees with me. And I know this because they took down one of my videos on Eugenia Cooney. So on May 16th, I got a notification that one of my videos had been taken down. And it wasn't like a super crazy video. It was literally just me sitting in a chair, like I always do, just responding to things that Eugenia was doing in her video. Like it was just a video that Eugenia had done. It was like a fashion haul or something, and I was talking about it. Hi, Pastel Belle. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our harmful and dangerous policy. We've removed the following content from YouTube, and the video was the dangers of Eugenia Cooney and pro-ana content. Now, I really want to stress that this was not a video that was taken down because it was bullying Eugenia Cooney. Remember that community guideline that I went over like 10 seconds ago? That was what they cited. It wasn't bullying or something else, because that's a completely different guideline. The only thing that would make sense for it to be taken down for is if it violated their eating disorder policy, which is under the harmful and dangerous content.
Now, to my understanding, this is the entire point to her claim. YouTube agrees with her that Eugenia Cooney content is dangerous. Her source for this is that her own video covering it got banned by YouTube. So by that logic, Eugenia's channel should be banned too. Well, actually, I don't know if that's her point because she said she's not for people getting banned. So I don't really know what she's saying here. But it's my understanding that this video was reinstated. Let me go on Willie's Twitter right now. Where was it? Let me scroll through his Twitter account real quick.
Spooky funded $5. As someone who was a fan of Eugenia's back when she did You Now, she's never once said be anorexic like me, it's always been I want to be you from fans.
Thank you for the 5. Her video is about how YouTube agrees with her because they took down one of her videos. But her video was put back up when she appealed it because it was a mistake on YouTube's end. I don't get it. Her video is still up on YouTube with no restrictions. Why is this her argument?
Rosie the Rascal funded $6.84. Some T/commentary channels have only gotten worse talking about mental health. I'm happy Eugenia is being supported against MH misinformation.
YouTube and Twitch CEOs. Please protect your communities and remove or
Oops, I'm playing the wrong video.
So why did my video on Eugenia get taken down, but Eugenia's own videos get to stay up? Now, keep in mind, the only thing that was in my video was me sitting in a chair doing some analysis on why body checking and thinspo is bad, but Eugenia's video, which had the same content except without the disclaimers and without the educational stuff about EDs and the dangers of it, that got to stay up. The only thing that I can possibly think of is that I just don't generate the same amount of ad revenue that Eugenia does. Eugenia's making YouTube a ton of money, and I'm just not doing that. In other words,
But YouTube isn't a platform that's run for profit. YouTube is just a data collection organization. YouTube exists to collect your data and to study patterns. That's why YouTube is a thing. YouTube's not made for profit. And Eugenia Cooney, even if YouTube was made for profit, Eugenia Cooney isn't the one that's pulling in the big numbers, all right? Who are the big people on YouTube right now? Probably Mr. Beast, all right? Mr. Beast might be pulling in YouTube a decent amount of money. But when we're talking about like a site-wide thing here where Eugenia Cooney or even Mr. Beast for that matter. Mr. Beast make them like a ton of money, but do you think Mr. Beast is really affecting the entire stability of the whole platform? No. Absolutely not. YouTube is owned by Google. One of, if not the biggest corporations in the world. They don't need Eugenia Cooney to survive.
Boils down to money. Now, before people who are hell-bent on trying to bring me down start going on about how it was actually me violating the bullying or harassment policy, just know that the email didn't cite the bullying or harassing policy as the reason they took my video down. Remember, the reason they took my video down was for violating the harmful or dangerous policy, under which there's a clause about eating disorder promotion. So they saw that the issue with my video was not me harassing or bullying Eugenia. The reason they had a problem with my—
Actually, that's a good question, though. How much money does Eugenia even make on YouTube? 1 million views? That's nothing. Like, no offense to Eugenia, but like, we're talking about a creator with 2 million subs, right? She's making about as much right now as probably Boblex is making. Yeah, basically the same thing. In fact, she might be making less money than I do per month. Which should tell you something, right? She's not the breadwinner of YouTube that they so desperately need on there that they're letting her get away with tons of crazy shit.
my own was because I was allegedly promoting eating disorders. And after I talked to them about the hypocrisy of that and how I was very obviously not doing that, they reinstated my video. Now to address some specific points that he made, starting with the Tess Holiday tweet. I can understand how this can be perceived as not my best tweet, and if I'm being 100% honest about it, it's not my favorite tweet either. As a content creator, I live about half of my life online, and like any other human, I am sometimes going to say things that I'm happy about, and sometimes things that I'm not so happy about. Do you honestly think, though, that if we go through this creator's entire tweet history, we're not going to find a single thing that he no longer stands by? The difference is, I'm not going to sit here and find a single tweet and then nitpick it over and over and over to death if it's not in line with that person's intent. And I think I've been pretty clear about what my intent is this entire time. To address the point he made about me saying that I never wanted her deplatformed, I have always had the same stance on Eugenia. I have always said that I think her content should be either age restricted or removed because I think it is causing a lot of harm to people, and as someone who suffered with an ED myself, I know exactly how dangerous and insidious this disease is, and how harmful Thinspo and pro-Ana content is to those who struggle with EDs or who are prone to struggle with EDs. I have always said that. When I mentioned I never said that I wanted to deplatform her, I meant that I don't think she should be deplatformed from every social media that she has ever or will ever have forever. Like, arguing this point is literally just hyperbole, but also I've always had the same stance and I've always said it publicly. I think that Eugenia's pro-Ana, Thinspo, shock value content that is actively harming minors.
But she says she thinks, right? Like, that's not something you can base your entire argument off of you think. You have to show. This is why, in my opinion, it's gonna be the easiest debate ever for me. Because the onus is on her to prove something that she can't.
Mellow Jello funded $5.
I mean, I could pinpoint 20,000 other things that she said that are false or contradictions or even outright lies, right? But her main central argument is flawed from the start. Let me read this one. May I remind y'all that one of the many reasons Belle wants Eugenia Cooney removed is because of an alleged relapse of a Twitter user? Is that so? That's not her responsibility, though. See, here's the deal, and this is what's going on here. She's arguing this position, I feel like, from a more left-leaning perspective. Because remember, she's a bread tuber now, right? So what she's arguing is that creators are responsible for their platform in the similar way that bread tubers would argue you're responsible if you tell edgy jokes. You're responsible for your audience accidentally becoming Nazis, right? That's what she's basically saying. That's like the logic in there. Which I don't agree with.
Or community should be temporarily banned or age restricted on YouTube. Not only because it's harming minors and it's harming adults, but it also literally just does violate YouTube's own community guidelines. Now to address the Nikocado avocado situation. You know, I knew even before I posted that video that people were going to intentionally misrepresent what I said, which is why I included this. Again, I think it's extremely important to acknowledge that Nikocado Avocado and people like him, such as like Amberlynn Reed and other people who do these like binge eating content videos online, I don't think that should be normalized. I don't think it's healthy. I don't like to see it. I want to see people being healthy and having a good relationship with their body and with food. But I also think that there is already a lot of information out there about why that behavior is not good. And I think a lot of people sort of downplay the effects that eating have on people. And I don't think that that is a responsible or okay thing to do, especially considering some of these immediate dangers to your life that eating can put you in. It's also really disgusting to me that so many people willfully misrepresent what I said and also refuse to listen to the voices of people who said that they were literally directly influenced by Eugenia to look more like Eugenia. These are the
But she's not responsible for that.
exact demographics of people that I and many other creators have tried to protect. But
I mean, are creators responsible? I can go back to the alcohol argument, right? If you watch the Tommy C stream and you see him drinking a lot, and you pick up an alcoholism habit because you watched Tommy C do it so much that you decided, I'm gonna get drunk more often, and then you fall down the alcohol pipeline. Is Tommy C responsible for your alcoholism? I don't think so. I think that was more of a decision that you made. Possibly because you saw somebody else do it online and you were like, this lifestyle right here of alcoholism, this is a perfectly based and normal lifestyle to live. All right. I'm going to become an alcoholic. I'm going to drink myself close to death every night because that's what I view as normal, because people that I watch on YouTube do it. So I might as well do the exact same thing. Like, it sounds stupid, right? Because like, who would ever do that? But that's basically what they're saying. What about people that smoke or people that gamble? I mean, gambling was a big discussion a few months ago, right? Remember the whole gambling stream argument?
But no one chose to listen to them. They just decided to marginalize their voices and also ignore them in favor of the idea that, oh, Belle said it's okay to look like Nikocado Avocado. Which, no, I didn't say that. I'm just saying that considering how the media portrays people who look like Eugenia versus people who look like Nikocado, I think that there is a very obvious difference in the influence that Eugenia's content is going to have over people. And I think this is largely...
So because of social norms, it's been more socially normalized to be thin than it is to be fat, which I don't know if that's true. I mean, they promote fat acceptance a lot in society. But let's say that what she's saying is true. Because of societal norms, Eugenia Cooney's at fault more for her lifestyle than Nikocado is, because she's promoting something that's promoted to, I guess, young girls more often than being fat is, right? Like, what? That's not her fault, though, right?
because of how the media represents people who look like Eugenia. And I don't understand why that's so complex for people to wrap their brains around. Obviously, there are still a lot of problems with Nikocado, and I don't think he's healthy or it's okay to look like that. But I also think that everyone knows that. And I don't really see as many people as influenced by Nikocado as Eugenia. And so when I say Eugenia is more dangerous, that's what I mean. Only that she is more dangerous, but they are both still dangerous. I never said that Nikocado's content isn't dangerous at all. I just said that Eugenia's thinspo is a lot more dangerous because of how the media portrays people who are thin as being much more attractive.
But that's not her fault.
And it's pretty obvious if you go back and watch my entire video, not the out of context clips taken as a gospel truth, but like actually watch my entire video. Then you'll see the point I was actually trying to make. This creator also tried to use the point that one time another YouTuber stayed with Eugenia for a couple days like 5 or 6 years ago, as if this is proof positive that there cannot be any abuse going on in that house. It is so obvious that when someone has someone staying with them, they're going to put their best foot forward.
Okay, so she's referring to when Willie Mack interviewed, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? What was his name? I know this guy. He's in my chat sometimes. Drew Sharing. She's talking about when Willie Mack interviewed Drew Sharing, and she's saying, well, that's not proof that there's no abuse. I mean, technically, yeah, she's right. And I think I even said that when I reviewed Willie Mack's show's video. I said it wasn't necessarily proof, but it was a lot more proof for his argument that they presented for their argument. They're saying that Eugenia Cooney's parents are abusive because of random out of context stream clips where her parents are yelling at her from the other room. As if parents like never yell at their kids in a totally non-abusive way ever, right? Maybe they were yelling at her because she was in a different room than them and they needed their voice to be louder so she could hear them. Willie Mack's show, on the other hand, presented an interview with somebody that lived with them for a week and reported nothing but positivity from the house. So yes, while Willie Mack's show's interview doesn't prove that Eugenia Cooney's parents could not be abusive when Drew wasn't there, it's still more evidence to support his point of view than they've provided to support their point of view.
And not going to show any obvious signs of abuse. That does not prove that there's no abuse going on in that situation. It just means that for a couple days, they have to act like normal people. Like, this isn't really even worth going into. Like, this is so ridiculous, it's barely even a point. Now, about the panties matching the eyeshadow comment that I made in one video one time that they keep bringing up over and over and over again, as if it was the only point that I made in that video. If you don't think that that's valid, if you don't think that that is evidence of Eugenia doing it on purpose, that's completely fine. You don't have to agree with me.
Okay.
But what I do find weird is I brought up a lot of other points in that video and they really only harp on that one individual thing. And if it was that one thing, I wouldn't really think it was necessarily on purpose. But because of everything else that happened, that led me to believe that it was definitely on purpose. And I also want to note, there were like 15 panty flashes in the video. It wasn't a live stream, it was edited. I personally don't think that it's going to get uploaded without her mother's approval and that she probably saw it and knew about it, but okay, sure. It definitely was edited by someone, either Eugenia
Again, something she doesn't know.
or someone else. And so you're telling me that this editor, who edits a YouTuber with 2 million subscribers videos, you're telling me that this editor left 15 shots of panties in the video without noticing? That Eugenia just somehow was completely oblivious to that fact? Now, you might believe that, and that's completely fine, but I am never going to be convinced that that was simply left in by accident. When the shock value of her videos go up, her views
I don't think that matters though.
also go up. And Eugenia's been doing constant body checking and thinspo content for years, with zero regard for who it hurts, regardless of how many times it's been brought to her attention. When she does something shocking or controversial, her views skyrocket exponentially, and you can verify that by just checking out her YouTube channel for like 11 seconds. Now, I don't even necessarily have a problem with people who post shocking content, so long as it's not done at the expense of the safety of their audience who watches them. And in addition to this being already against YouTube's terms of service, I also want to stress that this is, more importantly, extremely dangerous to the minors and adults who are watching her. Now, many of you are probably unaware of this, but there's actually a huge anorexia fetish community online. And while I don't have 100% proof that Eugenia is catering to this community, there is a lot of evidence from people who are very familiar with this, who know so much more about it than I do, that Eugenia might possibly be catering toward the community with certain requests that she takes in videos. I also want to note that there is 100% proof that there are people who are anorexia fetishists who are in Eugenia's own community. And for more information on that, you can check out the Eugenia Cooney subreddit, although you will have to scroll back a little bit. I'm not going to go any deeper into the anorexia fetish aspect of this video, but if you want to see another video that was really well done, that really thoroughly went
So there's bad people that exist. There's Eugenia Cooney, and she thinks that there's overlap there, but she's not going to go into it. What is going on?
into it and kind of explained what it was, then I will link a video in the description below done by Herbs and Altars, which was absolutely amazing and really covered this.
Inside the sick world of anorexia fetishists, anorexia fetish predators, and the girl who lost her life. But what does that have to do with Eugenia, though? That's the problem. It's like, there's not much for me to respond to in this video because she's not really saying much that I can extrapolate from.
This very thoroughly. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is probably the most upsetting to me, and that is the fact that I have not only seen people try to trivialize.
Wait, what? She's blaming Eugenia for being objectified by people with a fetish. I don't want to say that's what she's doing, but I feel like that's what's happening.
Does Belle seriously not see how harmful it is to think YouTube should be involved in creators' medical health?
Well, I would assume she's all for that, right? She's for the medical misinformation strikes and shit like that. So she's arguing creators have responsibility, and I think it comes from really her politics, but she's arguing that creators have responsibility for their audience, and Eugenia has the same amount of responsibility for promoting anorexia as edgy people do when they promote edgy jokes that could lead people down a radical pipeline. That's what she's saying.
The dangers of inspo content that Eugenia produces, but I've also seen people try to marginalize the voices of survivors who have come out of her community. You see, there have been a lot of problems in Eugenia's Discord or in her community in general, where there's a lot of predators there. There's a lot of predators that are looking for kids who are not mentally well, who are in some way, shape, or form vulnerable to predation. And Eugenia has had some interesting responses to this. So I am so sick of people acting like Eugenia is this helpless person who no one's allowed to criticize. And I'm not just gonna sit idly by and allow people to paint this narrative like the victims who are coming forward are the ones at fault and Eugenia has no responsibility, despite the fact that she's a 27-year-old woman who has a platform of over 2 million subscribers. You can say whatever you want about me, but I'm not going to allow people to marginalize the voices of these children who are brave enough to come forward. Actively allow children to be hurt. That is something that should be called out, and that would not be tolerated if it was any other YouTuber.
She's actively allowing children to be hurt.
So why does Eugenia get a pass? Why am I not allowed to criticize that? Eugenia is not just another creator online who has an ED. She weaponizes her ED in the form of thinspo to generate clicks and views on her channel, regardless of how many times people have informed her that this is actively hurting her community and actively making life worse for people who are trying to recover from their ED. She continues to do it. I also feel like a lot of people are trying to ignore the fact that Eugenia is, you know, an influencer who influences people. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, well, it's not Eugenia's fault that she struggles with an ED and she can't be held accountable for the fact that she has this mental illness which is outside of her control, which is true. She has no control over that and it's not her fault that she has to struggle with this. But I don't see the same charitability towards other people, you know, minors who struggle with an ED, who kind of have no choice to look at it because there are so many times where people have said, YouTube, do not show me this. I don't want to see this. And they block her content and YouTube still promotes it. And then it's on the trending page. So how are people supposed to not see this content?
When has Eugenia ever been on the trending page? And also, why is that her fault? Just because YouTube blasts like anorexic content to people that don't want to see that shit doesn't mean that Eugenia is at fault there. Like, YouTube blasts all kinds of content I would rather not see, to be quite honest with you. But that's just how it works. It's a website. It's a screen. Remember that tweet where it's like, how is cyberbullying real? Just turn off the screen. Like, that's unironically how I feel when it comes to these videos, right? Like, how could this trigger you? Just turn it off, you know? Like, I really want to say that shit, but I mean, fuck it. Yeah, I will say that shit. You know what? Fuck it, dude. Yeah, just turn off the fucking screen. Turn off the fucking screen. If it bothers you that much, turn off the screen. Change the tab. Go somewhere else. No one uses the trending page? Yeah, literally though.
It's everywhere. And it's not as if she has the decency to stay in the pro ED community. She also is merging into like the anime and cosplay community. So if you don't want to see the ED stuff, but you still are into like, I don't know, some of the most popular interests online, you're going to have it shoved down your throat every time you open up YouTube. Now, obviously, there are a lot of issues with Eugenia's platform. There's the Thin Film Pro Anna stuff, which I've been talking about pretty much the entire time. There's also the number of minors that have been groomed through her community, you know, because predators see the kind of people that Eugenia attracts, and they know that they can be more easily groomed than the average,
How is that her fault? She's the victim. Predators target her because they know her audience is young, and they can fuck with them. That's not her fault, dude. What do you mean?
Joe funded $5. If you watch her vid of addressing false narratives in it, she states that Eugenia trigger her own ed. I think it has gotten to the point she just bias.
It's possible. How is that her problem, though? And is this point ever elaborated on? Because I've only seen one example of this brought up, and it was by Rebzilla. And Rebzilla got absolutely, completely demolished. Speaking of Rebzilla, I saw he put up a tweet today, because I think even he is starting to see through the bullshit.
P3891 funded $5. Belle sitting there trying to act like he doesn't have a don't recommend feature.
Yeah. Well, she's saying that the feature exists, but that it doesn't work. About Eugenia Cooney's petition. I want to make my stance clear about the Eugenia Cooney situation. I have briefly discussed temporary removal or age restriction in at least 2 videos. I no longer believe it is productive even to discuss a temporary removal. My original opinions were formed from situations separate from her illness. I think this is a critical discussion that needs to be had and a difficult one that goes beyond commentary YouTube videos. I have removed the mention of the petition link from said videos in accordance with and apologize to Eugenia for any stress I may have caused concerning her illness. Hey, you know what? Rebzilla? Base take, all right? I'm gonna send this guy $10,000. No, I'm just kidding. Now, seriously, though, I mean, it is good to see this shit. And by extension, it was good to see Petty Page back up Willie Mac's show, even if I don't think she was doing it honestly. I'm still not giving them money, though.
not mentally ill child. But there's also like so many other issues. And I'm not really going to go super deep into every single problem with Eugenia's content because I feel like this video would be even longer than it already is. But the most frustrating thing is that YouTube agrees with me. YouTube sees a problem with her content. And the reason I know that, again, is because my video that featured Eugenia's content was removed. It was removed because
and it was reinstated after 24 hours.
Violated the harmful and dangerous policy. But Eugenia's own video got to stay up. Now, I want to remind you guys that the video that I had that got removed, it only featured content that I got from Eugenia's channel. And so the video that I made with a bunch of disclaimers about the dangers of like pro Anna stuff, that was taken down for promoting eating disorders. But Eugenia's video that I literally took it from was fine to stay up. There is literally no logical explanation for that aside from, I don't know, maybe we could take a look at our analytics and see how much money my channel is generating for YouTube versus Eugenia's. And I feel like if we did that, the answer would become crystal clear. Now,
what is her channel? I mean, obviously it's less than Eugenia. Belle Aubrey. What is her name? Aubrey or Audrey? There it is. Oh, well. Okay. Damn. Holy shit. She lost a fuckload of subs. What are these deleted videos, by the way? What is she private? Was that her past Eugenia Cooney content? What do we know what she privated here?
I was pretty suddenly and
you know, I gotta give Willie Mac this, and I might tweet this later tonight, but he has successfully inflicted damage onto a channel I haven't seen in a while. Channels losing subs after getting called out used to always happen. It never happens anymore. I'm surprised he was able to get that much done.
ridiculously attacked by people for a stance that I've had online publicly for going on a year now on something that I hadn't spoken about for months, on something that I planned on never speaking about again, and that I publicly said I wasn't planning on speaking about again. So I'm kind of left just very confused at this point. Obviously, every creator has a complete right to disagree with my stance on anything. You can disagree with me all you want. No one has to agree on everything. But this video wasn't just about disagreeing and voicing a different opinion or a different perspective. This was literally a hit piece. This was filled with the worst possible interpretations of what I said, things taken out of context, and it was an attempt to smear my reputation and my name.
Okay, so decent points she's brought up so far. I think her point about the underwear and saying that wasn't her only point in the vid, okay, fair enough. It was still a ridiculous point. I think she backed it up about as well as she could, but the problem with that is that the point originally is so dumb that I don't really know. Like, she did the best she could do with that, but it really wasn't that well. Other decent points she brought up, Willie Mack's interview with Drew is sharing is not conclusive proof. However, as I mentioned before, Willie Mack bringing up that interview in comparison to the minuscule proof they brought up that her parents are abusive. Obviously, Willie Mack wins in terms of the proof war there. So the few decent points she's brought up, I feel like are overshadowed by either A, her dumbass points, or B, her just lack of evidence. Now she's calling the video a hit piece. She opened the video saying she thinks Willie Mack was paid off to make this video. She thinks that the commentary community is just picking on her randomly as if she's just villain of the month for no reason. That's pretty dishonest. And I think even she knows that. Yeah.
And it seemed like I'm this awful, soulless person who's just doing this for clout or to antagonize a mentally ill woman for no reason. And so I wanted to come on here and just clear the air and just once again reaffirm what my stance is on all of this. Anyone can take a bunch of out-of-context clips and compile them together and spin this, fabricated narrative and try to make it seem like someone's a horrible person. It's very easy to do. However, I do find it really frustrating because I have been very honest about what my stance is regarding the situation the entire time. And I also have only talked about this because this is something that I'm extremely passionate about. And even though this is something that really does trigger my own ED and makes my mental health get so much worse, this is still something that I chose to cover only because I wanted to make a difference and I wanted to educate people about the dangers of thinspo because I wish that that was content that I had seen when I was first getting it.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that. If you want to talk about how bad eating disorders are, thinspo and shit like that, I mean, you can do that. The problem is that you're villainizing one random person who's really doing nothing, and you provided no evidence that they're doing something wrong. What's this Keemstar tweet? Oh, shit.
Fucking memory. My voice may be gone, but my fucking memory isn't. I'm glad that you apologized to Eugenia Cooney and you apologized for promoting a petition to ban a sick girl on YouTube. But let me tell you this. If you go and look at your Twitter responses, the people seem to be very proud of you and happy that you took accountability and did the right thing. Why is it when you fucking talk about creators and you talk about the mistakes that they made, that your audience, the hate mob that you fucking feed with constant bullshit against other fucking creators, how come that hate mob isn't as forgiving? How come you're always bringing up mistakes that creators made years ago over and over and over again, even though they apologized, even though they said sorry? Why are you bringing those up over and over and over again? I think what's fair is fair. I think we should bring up that you did this heinous fucking thing next week. A couple months down the road, we should bring it up. A year from now, we should bring it up. And especially the bullshit that you did to Gabby Hanna. We should keep a tally of all your fucking mistakes and bring them up over and over and over and over again like you do to other creators. And we should cultivate a hate mob against you like you cultivate a hate mob against other creators. And we should say, as we're cultivating this hate mob, hey, I'm just bringing this up. Please don't bully or harass any creator that I'm talking about, even though that is the whole core. That is the intent of the content, is to bully and harass, to create a hate mob, to fucking tear other creators down. My voice is gone, but my memory's not.
Well, fucking AIDS. Yeah, I mean, it's not a hate mob. It's just, it's not cancel culture. It's accountability culture, right? Right, guys? He does sound like a supervillain there. All right, let's get back into this.
into it. And so this whole narrative, like I'm just this selfish, soulless person, just this T channel out to start drama and get clout or out to get attention, is so frustrating because the only things I have ever talked about on my channel are things that I genuinely do care about. So if you want to follow this content creator, that's fine. If you want to believe that any woman or LGBT person who comes forward and talks about serious issues is just a T channel looking for drama, that's fine.
So he's a bigot just because he happens to call out. Okay, when we call it the T channel community or whatever the fuck, and a lot of them happen to be women or gay people, that's not really by design. That just is how it works. Because like a lot of, to be honest, a lot of women and gay people populate the community. I don't really know what else to say. Like that's just, I don't know. They call it a lot of straight men.
Funded $2.
Oh, we can play identity politics, I guess. Hate mob gang.
If you want to believe that Eugenia is this innocent angel who has never done anything wrong, or hop on the every content creator needs to be held responsible for their actions except for Eugenia train, that's also fine.
No, I don't think any content creator, well, okay, let me clarify. Obviously, some people should be held responsible for their actions. Obvious, no shit. But I don't think they should be held responsible for their community. That's just too much to ask of a creator. It's literally impossible. Even if you're like the most self-righteous, goody two-shoes creator with your little audience there, somebody in your audience is going to be a pedophile. Somebody in your audience is going to be a rapist. Somebody in your audience is going to starve themselves. Somebody in your audience is going to fall down some stupid political pipeline cancer. Something bad is going to happen to somebody in your audience. It's absolutely impossible to hold creators responsible for their own audience doing the same shit or different shit that you do. You can't control it. Even like the most self-righteous creators can't do shit about it. Nobody can do shit. The worst thing the internet ever did is popularize the idea that we need to hold our community responsible. The extent to which I hold my community responsible is banning somebody in chat that says something that's going to get me in trouble. That's the only thing I'll ever give a fuck about doing. And I only do that because I have something to lose there. No offense, chat, but I don't give a flying fuck if one of you guys gets an eating disorder because you watch my stream and you see that I'm thin and you're like, damn, I want to be thin too. And you go and you get a little too thin. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. It's not my responsibility. It doesn't matter.
If you want to marginalize what minors have gone through on her platform with her constant dismissal of grooming victims, that's fine. If you want to pretend that Thinspo and pro-Anna content don't exist, that's fine. I'll still—
Nobody's saying that. Wait, let me back that up again.
Content creator needs to be held responsible for their actions, except for Eugenia train, that's also fine. If you want to marginalize what minors have gone through on her platform with her constant dismissal of grooming victims, that's fine.
Nobody's talking about that. They're not dismissing minors getting abused in her Discord server. What they're saying is that Eugenia Cooney not only is not responsible for that, but when she was made aware of that, she absolutely handled the situation as well as she could. Remember? I feel like my channel is becoming like an encyclopedia of this shit. Where was it? Which video did I cover this in? This one. Yeah. Remember this message? Unless there is another example of her knowing without a shadow of a doubt that there is a child predator in her Discord server and literally saying, I'm not going to do anything about that. Case dismissed. Nobody is saying that children getting abused isn't a bad thing. That's not even that's not even remotely close to the conversation being held here. Luna X Nova through 5. Believe Belle's view is that she shows her legs and undies on purpose to gain more fetish views. I don't know. I don't know.
If you pretend that Thinspo and pro-Anna content don't exist, that's fine. I'll still believe what I have always believed and what I have believed since day one. And that is something that YouTube actually agrees with me with, based on their own community guidelines. And
they now disagree with you.
And that's the fact that if content is actively hurting minors, it should be removed or at the bare minimum, age restricted until it is changed.
You have to prove that.
I've said this publicly a million times in the past, and I'll say it again. I want to see Eugenia get better. I actually don't enjoy seeing Eugenia sick like this. It's not really fun for me. And I, like any person with a sense of decency, want to see her make a full recovery. I'm rooting for her. But at the same time, I'm not going to allow Eugenia to just get away with actively harming minors with her constant body check.
Whew.
and her thinspo content. I know that this is having a real negative impact on so many people, not only in her community, but just on YouTube in general. So I'm not going to just ride this wave of ignorance and pretend like Eugenia isn't doing tangible harm to the world. I also just want YouTube to hold Eugenia to the same standards they would hold any other content creator to. Because I know for a fact, if I did half of what Eugenia does, my platform would not only be taken away, but I would be canceled by everyone online. And so
No? At least not by us. I wouldn't really give a fuck. Like, I'll tell you something right now. I was sent a story that I didn't even bother looking into, that Hassan, the Twitch streamer, used to go to a brothel, and then later the brothel was investigated for like child sex trafficking or something like that, right? I didn't even look into the story because Hassan going there does not mean he was instantly part of like the child sex trafficking that was going on there, right? That's like an argument I feel like they would bring up against Eugenia. Oh, well, you did one thing that's tangentially related to this other thing, so you're responsible. Like, no. I dismiss that. Even though I don't like Hassan, it's still funny. Yeah, I mean, it's a funny story. But, like, I didn't cover that because the implication there by me covering that would be that Hassan is responsible or that he was involved. Whereas I've seen no evidence of that being the case. So I didn't cover it. That's an example of me not covering a story, even if it's about somebody that I don't like, without having the evidence. So there's an example.
So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get accountability because obviously she is violating YouTube's own community guidelines. And we know this. I think I've proven that time and time again. And so that's all I want. I just want the community to be a safe place for minors, and I also just want people to be held accountable if they're violating TOS. I also do genuinely hope that if she does get temporarily removed from YouTube for violating TOS, that she's able to get the help that she needs, that she deserves, so that she can thrive as a person. Because no one deserves to be suffering with an ED. And even though I am very critical of her, this is not a hate video. I don't hate you.
What other critters been banned for this? Banned for having a toxic Discord server, and, well, I mean, they might get banned off Discord, but not on YouTube. YouTube doesn't enforce that as far as I know. And being anorexic or promoting anorexic behavior, I don't think I've seen an example of that either. But I don't really pay attention to that shit, so it could have happened. But certainly not. If she was a walking copy of Eugenia Cooney, then no, she wouldn't get banned unless the internet hate mob against her succeeded in getting her banned, that she is a part of.
Eugenia. This is not me trying to cancel her, and even though I know she is pretty much incapable of responding to constructive criticism, and she's just going to write me off as another hater, I don't hate Eugenia, and I do want to see her get better, and I want to see her, like, you know, be a happy person. I'm also going to use this video as an opportunity to just say that I am going to be leaving commentary. Yes, that's right, females can do commentary too. It's not just tea, just because I'm a female. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's actually probably been about a year that I've been thinking about this, but this situation has really just cemented in my mind that I cannot do this any longer. So this is my final video addressing the situation. I don't care how many other videos people take out of context, and I don't care how many videos people create trying to spin my narrative.
This wasn't her final video, by the way. We'll be taking a look at the next one.
Trying to make it seem like I'm this horrible person. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So I've also decided that I'm going to get out of commentary. I'm going to switch over to doing more media analysis and LeftTube content, as I really like what's happening over in that sphere right now. I've been watching a lot of Ethan and Hassan, and also Christina Mayoni, ContraPoints, Lindsay Ellis, Shanspear, Big Joel, and a lot of other content creators, and I just realized that that's what I like to watch, that's what I want to create, and that's the energy I want to put out into the world. If you want to continue following me, if you want to watch that content that I do in the future, I would love to have you. I'm not going to engage with anyone regarding this situation, because I don't want this petty back and forth commentary banter where people are just trying to stir up drama in order to generate content. I'm sick of it, I don't enjoy it anymore, and I want to move on to content that actually makes me happy instead of content that constantly triggers my eating disorder. I'm going to end this video by referencing some content if you want to get a further understanding of EDs, and if you want to like do—
Alright, we get the point.
Gabby?
Exposing Willie Mack's manipulation point by point.
So, as I'm sure you're now aware, there's a small group of creators out there who are trying very vigorously to spread the narrative that I hate Eugenia Cooney for whatever reason, and that I'm trying to bully and harass her in order to foment hate against me. Me calling out the predators in her Discord and trying to hold her accountable for the damaging effect that she has on her audience, which is largely made up of minors, is all just because I'm mean and evil and I like to bully a fellow ED sufferer. This narrative is so disingenuous, it's honestly disgusting. This creator released yet another video slandering me. And while initially I said I wasn't going to make a response, I have been made aware of some things over the last 24 hours that have illuminated why exactly this sudden mob of hate has been thrown my way, now of all times, which I am going to address in the end of this video. But before I get into—
Oh shit, dude, she's got the scoop. Wait, she knows. She exposed the secret Discord server.
That he did say in his video that I didn't truly address any of his criticisms. So today I'm going to go point by point and address everything. First, I want you to take a look at this thumbnail and see how intentionally manipulative Willie is being. He took a picture of Eugenia crying about something that had nothing to do with me, and yet he's here trying to paint the picture that somehow I'm responsible for Eugenia crying here.
Oh no. Actually, I think it's just a thumbnail. I'm pretty sure there is no Machiavellian plot there. I'm pretty sure it's just a thumbnail. By the way, I want to point, Tommy C did something really funny. She has a problem with how Willie Mack said that she hates Eugenia Cooney and made that thumbnail. Tommy C did Belle Aubrey really hates Eugenia Cooney and made her look even worse in the thumbnail, which is fucking hilarious, but yeah.
He also went and found the angriest looking still he could from my video, again, to try to paint this image in people's brains that I'm angry and it's making Eugenia cry.
That's not what's going on there. You're looking too into it. People pick bad frames from your videos to use as thumbnails all the time.
And yet he's here trying to paint the picture that somehow I'm responsible for Eugenia crying here.
Nobody picked up this interpretation except for you.
He also went and found the angriest looking still he could from my video, again, to try to paint this image in people's brains that I'm angry and it's making Eugenia cry, because I'm the evil one and Eugenia's the victim. I bring this up because
Didn't she already make that point?
I think this thumbnail is the perfect indication to show how manipulative his entire narrative is.
Hey guys, #1 T channel here, and my god, for 30,000 views, we had a hell of an impact.
You had a hell of an impact because Keemstar decided to signal boost your slander with his 3 million follower plus Twitter account. But I guess you just seemingly forgot to mention that.
She takes a positive
What? Keemstar making a tweet doesn't change shit.
caption on one of Eugenia's photos and twist it in the worst way possible.
Attached to this photo, she has a caption that says, "What you think about yourself is more important than what others think of you." So in this photo, it seems like on the surface, it's about like positivity and self-love and self-care and things like that, which are great and wonderful things. However, I have a hard time believing that this caption is about loving yourself and wanting to take care of yourself, because clearly she is not taking care of herself.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Eugenia Cooney can't even write a positive message without Belle villainizing her.
Yes, it's called toxic positivity or fake positivity, and it's a thing.
Whew.
And it's something Eugenia has been doing for a very, very long time, and you can verify that by checking her Twitter. It's just another way for Eugenia to deflect any criticism.
Wait, you can verify that by checking her Twitter? What does she tweet? Toxic positivity? I've never heard this term before. Be proud of who you are. There's no one else like you. Thanks to everyone who stuck around. Anyways, love you guys so much. Back on Twitch. If you were in my stream tonight, I'm sorry for the technical problems. I think that's the most issues I've had. My hiking outfit. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Is this what toxic positivity looks like? Never let anyone dull your light simply because it's shining in their eyes. Age restrictor content.
Or any concern for her, and also harm minors in the process. It is a thing. You can Google it. You can look it up. I'm not going to educate you about this. Google is literally free.
Oh, you're only
Wait, what? Toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic. Okay.
evidence is Eugenia writing a positive message on Twitter and thumbnails where you add a giant red arrow pointing towards her as if that proves anything. Well, she makes videos on clothing and fashion. You could do this to anybody who makes that kind of content.
For someone talking about the situation so often and energetically, he seems wildly uneducated to talk about it. I find it really weird that in all of his videos, I don't think I've ever heard him mention body checking, which again...
Body checking? Boy, we're getting real technical with this video. How body checking will keep you stuck in your eating disorder.
Eugenia does. That's what her content is.
In this first clip, Eugenia gets a comment about someone asking her if she can put her
Who is this?
fingers around her upper arm. And this is a check that people struggling with eating disorders often do around their wrist, ankles, or if they can, their upper arm to see if they are thin enough to be able to fit it through their fingers.
Can I fit my fingers around my bicep? What's my bicep here? Yeah, I can do that if that's what you're asking.
Lifting her legs instead of recording her shoes in the shoe haul video or shoe collection video. Like I said earlier, it's, you know, she might be looking in the monitor to see if she's in frame, but a normal person would usually only have their shoes in frame if they're doing a shoe collection or a shoe haul. And by lifting her legs instead of only showing the shoes, you can see her full body, and you can also see, you know, if she's in a dress, you can see her legs when she's lifting them up. And in some clothing hauls, I've also noticed that she doesn't get the item she's talking about in frame, and it kind of just seems like she's focusing on herself.
You would think if he was truly unbiased, he would present the fact that Eugenia does in fact body check.
Can I do that? Oh, I can't. Wait, fuck. I can do it here. This is as far as I can go. I've never heard of this shit before.
But for some reason, he didn't see fit to mention that in any of his videos, to the best of my knowledge. You know, especially considering that that was a major part of my video, and body checking is a really common ED conformation that, you know, is very triggering. And I do think it's noteworthy to mention it because A, it's a triggering behavior, but also EDs are literally the most deadly mental illness out there. And so I think it's very irresponsible to talk about it without talking about the
Oh wait, I can't do that because my fucking hands are too small.
dangers of body checking.
Her video is titled My Response and Why YouTube Agrees With Me. They definitely don't, but we'll get to that.
Where's your proof that they don't? Because you spend a lot of time in your video going
Probably because they reinstated the video. Oh, you're triggering me? It's my bad.
over the need for having proof and receipts for everything, but I don't see you bringing forward any proof or receipts for what you said in your video. You know, I did provide proof that my video was flagged for harmful and dangerous content. You know, the clause that actually does contain something about eating disorders. And all you have to provide as counterproof or like counter evidence is this half-baked conjecture that for some reason the YouTube bots aren't sensitive enough or intelligent enough to see that my video wasn't actually pro-Anna.
He starts off criticizing me for not being fair to her.
This was not an objective critique or audit as he was trying to frame it. This was literally a hit piece meant to smear me as much as he possibly could.
Does Belle show any examples for how I smeared her or how I was being dishonest? No, of course not.
Again, just take a look at the thumbnail.
Giving my arguments.
Damn! Willie just got fucked! Holy shit, he just got owned. Just look at the thumbnail.
It's the only fair way to make a video on someone.
It's the only fair way to make a video on someone.
In Belle's 30-minute response to
She really does not like that thumbnail. Holy shit.
me, I only appear in it one time, and it's to say that I hate women and hate LGBT.
Again, another lie. I never said that he hates women or LGBT people. What I said was that he is
He just criticizes them a lot.
dismissive of content creators who are women or LGBT, and that he calls our content tea rather than commentary. Now, if you look at this clip from his video, what do you notice about every content creator on the screen right now? They're all either a woman or they're LGBT. So, let me get this straight. If you talk about current events on YouTube, then you're a tea channel. Well,
she's implying that Willie Mack is dismissive of people who are women or gay, presumably because he has some issue with them. That's what she's implying, right?
as long as you're LGBT or a woman. But if you're a straight guy, then it's just commentary, bro. It's kind of ridiculous that I am the one that's being accused of lying when he's lying, and we're not even 5 minutes into the video. But nice try doing the whole, she's calling me a bigot card. That was clever.
She acts like I invented the term T-channel to use as a slur. I didn't. It's how these creators describe their own content.
They might describe their content that way, but I have never described my content that way.
What determines if you're a T-channel or not is simply who you cover. If you talk about makeup drama or Gabby Hanna or Jeffree Star, that would make you a T-channel. That's why I've been referring to myself as a T-channel since covering Gabby Hanna. When a T-channel says rotten stuff about Gabby
Or the commentary, guys, it's okay. We could take it.
Belle framing me as a woman-hating homophobe because I use the term T-channel.
Let's go over this again. I never said that you hate women or LGBT people.
Okay, we already went through this point.
What I said is that you're dismissive of content creators who are women or LGBT, and you call our commentary tea rather than commentary. I didn't say that you hate us, and I also don't really understand why you're trying to bring up the same point again, like a minute later in the video.
Gabby Hanna is not a serious issue.
Yes, Gabby Hanna is a serious issue, because not only is she a rape apologist, but she also bullied a rape
Wait, we're talking about Gabby Hanna. Even still though, like, holy shit. Let me back that one up.
I didn't say that you hate us, and I also don't really understand why you're trying to bring up the same point again, like a minute later in the video.
Gabby Hanna is not a serious issue.
Yes, Gabby Hanna is a serious issue, because not only is she a rape apologist, but she also bullied a rape survivor, publicly, like, harassed her for months. She also promoted false rape allegations, something I would think that you would care a lot about. I happen to think it's actually a very serious issue. So yeah, if you don't think Gabby
False rape allegations. I'm actually lost. What is she talking about when Gabby Hanna promoted false rape allegations? I mean, obviously I know what she's talking about, the rape apology thing. She's talking about Jessie Smiles, which I think is a non-issue because all she did in the Jessie Smiles situation, and this is getting into a whole other topic, a whole other can of worms, but like my understanding is that all she did during the Jessie Smiles situation was just ask questions. All she did was just ask, like, tried to get more information about it. And yeah, it could be kind of seen as like snaky if she's friends with Jessie Smiles and she's talking to somebody that Jessie Smiles alleged raped her and she's talking to them trying to figure out more shit. But to be honest, I just don't buy that that was that big of a deal. To me, Jessie Smiles' issue with Gabby Hanna was no more serious than my general issue with the commentary community when I didn't like them donating to Petty Page. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I had an issue with that, obviously. but it wasn't like as big of an issue where I feel the need to like go nuclear and fucking nuke everybody and fucking go after their channels and careers and shit. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, we talked about that like an hour ago, you know?
Has a serious issue and you think that all of those issues are just like these trivial little like T-channel subjects, then I think that says more about your character than it does about anyone else's.
I criticized you for who you are as a person, and you have it on full display right now.
I'm just gonna let the irony of that clip sink in for a little bit. I also find it really funny because Sloan literally uses his platform. He is brave enough to use his platform to call out some of the most prolific predators on YouTube and in Hollywood. So how
She's saying Gabby promoted the fans Jen Dent
Jessica
allegations.
Pizzle funded $5.
Oh, isn't Jen Dent
She's
like
saying
insane
Gabby
though?
promoted the fans
I don't
Jen
know
Dent
who that is. All I've
allegations.
seen is them make really stupid tweets. I have no idea. There's rape I didn't know that. I don't know. Whatever.
dare you call Sloan and reduce his content to just being tea?
Bro, he literally cited a tarot card reading as proof that Eugenia's parents are abusive.
And that's fine about the psychic, but my original point still stands, because Sloan has called out numerous powerful predators with his platform, and that's a hell of a lot more than you're doing with yours.
For example, I give a
Wow. Step back, Willie Mack. You're not calling out the brave creators over here.
simple timeline of events that includes Katie Morton. Of course it does. She's a major character. Belle responds with, well, what about the BetterHelp scandal she was in? What about it? How does that relate to the conversation?
You're trying to frame her like she's a credible person, when she is in fact not.
Brings up how I called D'Angelo Wallace a douchebag 2 years ago.
You literally called D'Angelo Wallace, of all people.
Okay, but about the Katie Morton thing, I think Katie Morton sucks. That being said, just because she sucks doesn't mean she can't have like a valuable take here or there. It just depends on what the take is.
The biggest douchebag on the internet.
What about it? How the fuck
But I do agree with her that Katie Morton sucks.
does it relate to the conversation?
It relates to the conversation because not only does it show how hypocritical you are with what channels you decide to label as T channels, but it also shows how biased you are with what subjects you decide to cover. D'Angelo Wallace, biggest douchebag on the internet. Do you realize how stupid that sounds? Especially coming from someone who supports creators who have done so much more that deserves to be called out for, but for some reason have managed to escape your oh-so-objective analysis. But even before that,
Just because Willie Mack hasn't dedicated his entire channel calling up predators and instead talks about stupid drama shit doesn't mean that he's any less or more morally righteous than you are. It doesn't matter.
my last video on Eugenia was back in May. I think it was May 5th specifically. So my last video on Eugenia was in August, and before that it was in May. May. It's now October.
Trust me, if I knew you were doing this, I would have said something a lot sooner.
Here's another lie. Because a few months ago, a creator in your friend group made a video going over these same exact talking points that you did, except months ago. So stop pretending like you didn't see the video, stop lying to your audience, and stop acting like you're not regurgitating these same exact things that he said just months later. I have never, ever
Just talk about Nick Diorio there.
called for YouTube to ban people simply
Or maybe me, but I'm pretty sure she's talking about Nick.
because they have EDs. Implying that I think all people who suffer with an ED should be banned from YouTube automatically is just not true. Like, that's just a straight up lie.
Belle, people are saying that about you because that's what your argument boils down to.
No, that's not how it works. It doesn't boil
Semantical argument.
down to that just because that's what you want it to be. Thinspo exists, Pro Anna exists, shock content exists. Whether you like it or not, influencers do have a responsibility to their audience because with a platform comes influence, and with influence comes responsibility. That's just how it works. That's why we have TOS.
When you actually look at Eugenia's content, what is it? Video games, clothes, and makeup. She's doing the same thing as everyone else on this website.
No, she's not doing the same thing as everyone else. She's producing Thinspo, she's body checking, and she's producing content which is actively hurting her audience regardless of how many people ask her to stop. And the worst part is, she's doing all of it with a smile on her face while telling everyone that she is completely fine, normalizing the idea that she is okay, that she is not sick, and that this is normal, healthy, and fine.
Do you want to gain weight? Xavier, no, I don't want to gain weight, but that doesn't really mean there's like a problem or anything. Not everyone really wants to gain weight, you know? So no, I'm not like trying to gain weight. There's no reason why, I just don't feel like I need to.
Other creators are not doing that, and you know that. This is the part where being responsible for your influence comes in. If you look at their
I mean, we're just retreading old ground here.
community guidelines page, you'll see that there's a bunch of different ones, but if you scroll down, you'll see one that says harmful and dangerous content. And if you read through it, it says eating disorders. Content that praises, glorifies,
Right.
impressionable young audience, that she's completely fine, please don't worry about her, everything's her too.
The impressionable young audience card.
YouTube actually responded, thanks for the info. Mind following her Twitter account so we can move the conversation to DMs? Belle accepted, and this is what she relayed to the conversation. YouTube just said
Okay, here we go.
they can't identify any TOS violations with Eugenia. Wow, it looks like YouTube doesn't agree with you. They agree with me.
Yeah, because YouTube never allows profit to get in the way of their good judgment, does it? That's complete.
But YouTube doesn't care about the profit. Again, YouTube is a corporation that exists for data collection. They don't exist for profit. YouTube doesn't make any profit. And even if they did, and if they were completely profit motivated, Eugenia Cooney's making like less than I do per month. So that argument just goes out the window.
Ludicrous. The idea that any corporation would prioritize profit above, doing what's right is just a completely ridiculous idea.
She then says, this means
Yeah, no shit. But that's not how that works.
revenue is more important to YouTube than protecting their community.
Yeah, it's so awful to try to use your platform to keep kids safe on the internet instead of talking about why D'Angelo Wallace is the biggest douchebag on the internet.
Nobody is keeping kids safe on the internet by making YouTube videos, though. Your videos aren't saving children.
I'm not surprised that the bot that hands out strikes would hear her use terms like pro Anna and mistakenly take down her video. Videos wrongly go down on YouTube all the time. It happens to everybody if you're around long enough.
Do you, Willie Mack, have proof that my video was taken down because bots false flagged it as being pro Anna content? Do you have receipts for that? You don't. Oh, okay, that's cool, because I actually do have receipts that my video was taken down because it was flagged for
And then it was reinstated.
promoting eating disorders. Now, seeing as usually when I'm doing a video, I'm just sitting in a chair talking about things like I normally would, anytime I do talk about eating disorders, I make sure to add a ton of disclaimers, and I make sure to talk about why it's bad. And so, you know, it's very, very obviously clearly not Thinspo, and anything that I do think could be triggering, I always censor. I have this sinking feeling that it's probably not me that was the problem, it was probably this other person's pro-Anna Thinspo content. The beginning of my video was very, very obviously anti-pro-Anna, and do you really think that the YouTube algorithm is this stupid that they can't detect that they can't see that this content was very obviously not pro-Anna? By that logic, anytime anyone talks about eating disorders online, their videos could also get taken down for being pro-Anna. Why?
Well, yeah, they could. Like, this happens all the time. People make videos going after anti-vaxxers and whatever COVID related shit. Like, they'll make videos from a left-wing perspective and they get taken down because the algorithm isn't smart enough to know what is a video. It just takes on anything COVID related. So it's absolutely reasonable that the algorithm would accidentally take down your video, and sure enough, a human reviewed your video and corrected the record there. So you can't use the argument that YouTube agrees with you and that suddenly validates your opinion. That argument falls flat because actually YouTube agrees with Willie Mack.
Has only happened with me. I don't think she knows YouTube. Yeah, I'm not getting the impression she's familiar with YouTube either. I mean, she thinks YouTube, first of all, she thinks the algorithm is smart enough to detect what is pro or anti-Anna content or what is pro or anti-COVID content. She doesn't realize that YouTube isn't a company that's made for profit. She doesn't understand how views correlate to income. I mean, again, we can go back, Eugene and Cooney. Where is it?
Nova funded $1.99. Agrees with me. They just won't say cause money.
Yeah. She doesn't understand that 1 million views per 30 days is less than I make. She doesn't understand how views translate to money. So she's making arguments like Eugenia Cooney's just raking in the big bucks for YouTube, and, well, that's just why they don't do anything about her. Well, no. That's not even close to how it works. Code 5. Belle makes content for people who eat crayons after not being able to color within the lines. Good one, dude.
He genuinely believes that my video was taken down because YouTube's almighty algorithm couldn't tell that my video wasn't actually pro-Anna. I think he's just acting ignorant because he's trying to discredit the proof that I have that YouTube sees this as a problem and is doing nothing about it. The only thing that I can possibly think of is that I just don't generate the same amount of ad revenue that Eugenia does. Eugenia is making YouTube a ton of money, and I'm just
No, she's not
doing that.
YouTube ad revenue is split 55-45 between the creator and Google. That means YouTube is at most making $3,000 or $4,000 a month from her. They're $1 billion company, Belle. It's Google. Google needs Eugenia Cooney to survive. What branch of YouTube is being held up by Eugenia Cooney's paycheck? YouTube doesn't need Eugenia to stay financially afloat.
Of his entire rebuttal video, this is probably the most obtuse statement that he makes.
How? Wait, what?
He really tries to frame it like YouTube isn't a $1 billion corporation that is trying to make money. YouTube is a $1 billion corporation, and they became a $1 billion company by making money off of YouTubers. The largest YouTubers on this platform are the ones that are generating them the most money, and so they have incentive to keep them on here. Now, obviously, Eugenia is not the largest YouTuber, but she is one of their larger YouTubers, and obviously, she is generating YouTube a good amount of money.
Does she think subscribers equals income? Because there's a lot of channels with millions of subs that make jack shit. I'm just so lost.
I never said that Eugenia is the only creator on YouTube who's making them profits, but they do have an incentive to keep the people who are making the money on the platform, and every time they remove someone who is making the money, they are going to take a hit financially.
No. It's just everything about this is no. That's not how it works at all. YouTube turning a profit. I don't even know how to like debunk this. Let's see. Fuck. Like, how do I even like? Do I even need to like? On an annual basis, Google says YouTube generated $15 billion last year in 2019 and contributed roughly 10% to all of Google's revenue. Overall, Alphabet made $46 billion in revenue in that quarter. Nearly $10.7 billion of that profit. Of that was profit, the company says. Yeah, they're not losing any money. The $3,000 Eugenia makes every month, on a good estimate, by the way, is not making or breaking YouTube. And she even like half acknowledges that, but then she says like, she like acknowledges that YouTube is like $1 billion corporation. But then she says that oh, well, because they're a billion-dollar corporation, they've got a lot to lose with Eugene. What? That doesn't make any sense, though. That's not how that works. Like, that's actually not how that works. Amazon was built off the backs of Twitch streamers. Yeah. Hassan basically constructed the entirety of Amazon. Totally.
They have incentive to not do that.
Belle is acting with malicious intent.
Yes, you heard that right. He states here, with 100% certainty, that I am acting with malicious intent. Willie Mack, the same guy who tried to crucify me because I stated as a fact that Eugenia Cooney's parents were somehow involved, which I shouldn't have done, by the way. I personally believe that her parents are involved to some extent, but I don't think I should have presented that as a fact in my video.
Whoa. If you believe that her parents are abusive or involved with the continuation of her eating disorder, and you know that as or you believe that as fact, why would you not say that? This leads me to believe that you know that that's something that you basically made up or parroted off of somebody else that you know you can't back up. So she's saying, well, I still believe that, but I shouldn't have said that. Why? If you believe something, you should say it.
Video. But here's Willie Mack stating with 100% factual certainty that I'm acting with malicious intent, as if that's something that he has any receipts for. I guess he doesn't need to bring receipts because he's a commentary channel, not a T channel. I forgot about that. Obviously, this is a lie, but it is also disgusting for him to try to state with certainty that I am acting with malicious intent, something that I am not doing. And I think if you look at my content, it's very obvious that I'm not. But also, we know that without this hyperbole...
They demonetized David Dobrik. They demonetized Shane Dawson. They demonetized James Charles. Those are people that are actually raking in big bucks. But again, it doesn't matter. They could demonetize Mr. fucking Beast and PewDiePie, and the company would exist as normal.
Willie Mack really doesn't have an argument at the end of the day. There are so many times where people have said, YouTube, do not show me this. I don't want to see this. And they block her content, and YouTube still promotes it. And then it's on the trending page.
Guys, we have to remember that YouTube is social media. That means real people uploading themselves to the internet. This is not TV. This is not PBS. There's no focus group making sure this content appeals to everybody. That means it's up to parents to make sure they know what their kid is watching. You wouldn't let your kid run around the streets talking to homeless people unsupervised, so...
Yeah, they banned Leafy. They blacklisted. They didn't even forget about them banning Leafy. In 2016, they delisted Leafy's channel, a channel that was making them 100 million views a month, which translates to roughly $250,000 per month. They shadow banned the fastest growing, and probably the channel was making the highest amount of income in 2016. They completely cucked Leafy's channel. That was making them probably more money than any other channel at that moment. Definitely more than PewDiePie. So what is she saying?
Why are you letting them do that online? Eugenia Cooney does not run a daycare. She is not responsible for your kid.
Yes, and here we get to the crux of the disagreement between my stance and Willie's. Now, Willie seems to think that it is the sole responsibility of the parent to micromanage what their child watches. You know how every parent is just watching their child 24/7 and has endless hours to make sure that their child isn't watching anything that's inappropriate. Now, let's say that your child is watching something and it's like content that's marketed towards children, and then all of a sudden the YouTuber starts doing drugs in the middle of it. Now, would you say that's the fault of YouTube or the YouTuber for pushing that content out and for marketing it to children? Or is it the fault of the parents for trusting YouTube and for believing that content that is marketed towards children would be...
Yeah, if you're a parent, you should not trust YouTube for your kid. Like, what are you talking about? Who does that? What is this comparison? Yeah, that's also stupid because that would like never happen. If you play your kid a Ryan toy review video, they're not going to start doing like fucking cocaine and strippers and halfway through. When has that ever happened? That content would get removed instantly. This is just a comparison that would like never exist in the real world. Also, yeah, parents shouldn't trust YouTube 100%. Mod Tom Dark? That's not the real one. If that was Tom, he'd come in here with a check mark on his main account.
Be child friendly. Now, Willie seems to think that it is solely the responsibility of the parent, but he also doesn't seem to acknowledge the fact that not all children have parents who are able to do that. Not all children have parents who are interested in what they're doing and are going to keep them safe. Do those children just not deserve to be safe on the internet because their parents don't care? What about all the children out there who don't have parents that are going to sit and micromanage everything that they watch? What about the children who have parents who work full-time jobs or don't care or don't know about the internet or just assume that YouTube is safe? Like, Is it the fault of the children? Because the children are the ones that are going to suffer, not the parents. So like what, we just don't care about them? Just like screw them, there's nothing we can do about them? That's the best solution you have? No, I think that that's why TOS exists. It's to protect children and to add another barrier to keep children safe on the internet. Because whether or not you like it, children are always going to use it. This creator also tried to use the point that one time another YouTuber stayed with Eugenia for a couple days.
Again, it was a week, but whatever.
As if this is proof positive that there cannot be any abuse going on in that house.
Of course my video doesn't prove that, but is literally the only witness testimony giving any specifics about
Exactly.
Eugenia's home life.
The fact that it's the only witness testimony about what's going on in that household doesn't make it any less ridiculous that you tried to use this as evidence that everything going on in there is a-okay.
She
Still more than you presented.
then pins a comment talking about a random situation where Eugenia banned a 16-year-old girl from her Twitch chat when she complained that another viewer was acting predatory towards her. Belle then clarifies that the victim has since made a public statement changing their initial stance, saying that Eugenia's mods were eventually helpful to her. Great, it sounds like Eugenia handled it.
I'm glad you brought this up, Willie, because it actually ties into something very important. You see, I have screenshots, yes, receipts, of the minor saying that they were coerced by Eugenia and her mods into saying that they did a good job helping her, when in fact they did next to nothing to do so. The truth is, there's a massive cover-up going on in Eugenia's community that culminated in an event last week that her and her mods are desperately trying to keep hidden. Now, this event actually relates to multiple minors being groomed
What?
in her community, and even though I wanted to be done speaking about this, after looking into it and after getting all of the evidence, I realized that no one else is going to speak up for the 16-year-old girl, and so I will. When you hear how disgustingly Eugenia and her mods handled this situation between the minor and the predator, who also happens to be a huge financial contributor to Eugenia's Twitch streams, you'll start to understand why I was suddenly attacked completely out of nowhere. I have full screenshots of everything, and that video will also be coming soon. I'm not going to stop talking about this because it is not just one 16-year-old that was being groomed in Eugenia's community, and this was also very recent. You know, the Discord situation was one thing, that was years ago. It was a
Willie, what is she talking about, dude? She says she has receipts. Does she show anything? She's just talking. What is going on?
lot, but it was years ago. This was recent, and it shows that Eugenia has a pattern of handling these situations with so much incompetence, I almost wonder if she even understands why this is such a serious issue. I'm gonna repeat this one last time. I don't have any hatred or malice or ill intent towards Eugenia Cooney at all, despite what Willie Mack and other creators—
how can you say that? If she's harming children and she's directly responsible for not only allowing children to get abused and coercing them to not expose her and her pedophile mods, all right? If I genuinely believe that about somebody, I would absolutely not like them or think that they're a bad person. How can she sit there and insinuate one thing, but then be like, no, I don't hate Eugenia Cooney or whatever? What?
Are trying to make it seem like I actually don't hate her and I want to see her get better.
I would hate somebody that would do that. I would absolutely hate somebody that would do that.
You know, I don't have 100% malevolent intentions or whatever it was he said in his video. I don't know why I have to keep repeating that. But also, just because these people are trying to spread this false narrative, that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow myself to be silenced. I'm not going to stop talking about this just to disprove Willie Mack or anyone else out there. Eugenia is a creator who is doing a lot of harm with her platform. And just like I would call out any other creator who is doing the same thing, I don't think we should walk on eggshells with Eugenia or give her a pass just because she is struggling with a mental illness. It's not her fault and she doesn't deserve hate, but she also deserves to be called out and she deserves to be held accountable when she is hurting people.
Somebody that does shit like that, that directly harms children, deserves hate.
People with her platform, which is what she's doing. So that's all I'm going to do for this video because honestly, I'm just getting really tired of all of this. I know I said I wasn't going to respond when I made my first video, but when I saw the last video and I saw the thumbnail, I just thought it was so manipulative that I felt like I had to do one last response video. So I decided to get all of my responses in order and just put it in one video. So you can go and watch this one, you can go watch the other one. Other than that, I'm done. I'm done talking about it. This is my final response to this entire situation. I don't care what else is said. This is it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening to what I had to say, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So as I'm sure—
Okay. All right, that was the video, I guess. That didn't really make any sense. She just reiterates the same thing. My second video debunks this video. Yeah. She got ratioed. And the worst part is, you know, Willie Mack, no offense, but I don't think these are like Willie Mack subscribers coming in here and like disliking. I think this is her own base. I think that's why she's losing subs, because her own subs are watching this shit. Again, I haven't seen a channel lose subs in ages. I think her own subs. Also, I like how she's trending on Social Blade because everybody's looking at her sub loss. I think her own subs are seeing these videos, and it's actually like the one time an audience has actually been convinced that somebody they watch is wrong. Again, do we know what her deleted videos were? Imagine Alex Jones versus Belle Aubrey. Jesus, dude. When are you gonna debate her? Soon, I think. Although, to be honest, she probably won't want to debate me after I upload this segment, but we'll see. I hope she does.
Jose something funded $5. She contradicts a lot just to lower the chances of cancellation. She harms kid. But I don't hate her Thew.
Nah, she doesn't hate her. She just thinks she harms children. You hate everyone anyways, so... Dude, this goes back to the conversation we just had. I think everybody is a piece of shit, basically. I don't know. And I feel like every day I'm completely validated in my opinion.
Zabarin funded $6.84. I have the screenshots and they're in the next video. Same video. This is the last video on the topic for good. So, no screenshots then? LOL.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, I just wanted to see the screenshots of where she was covering up the Discord shit. I don't know. Well, we reviewed the videos. I think I'm ready for debate. I'm pretty studied on the topic. So there we did that. And that's about all I think I had to is that her in chat? If there's anything else you guys want me to go over, then we can go over that. I've been live for 2.5 hours. If not, I'll probably just play some games and talk in chat. It's me. All right, Belle, when are we debating? I'm fucking ready. Ricky Berwick left my group chat. I can't. He's still in there? What the fuck? Verify on Twitter. I'm so used to them being like fake accounts. It's actually her verified it. Okay. You can check if it's a real account in chat by like looking at her like profile picture URL and comparing it to the real one. So yeah. The Repsion allegations. Fuck that shit, dude. I'm not covering that. Didn't Tipster show Eugene and Cooney Discord DMs? I know Tipster's doing a deep dive into that story. I sent you a DM on Twitter.
Dr_Phils_Anch_ funded $5.
Okay, yeah, I see
Didn't
that.
Tipster show EC Discord DMs?
I think Tipster's doing a stream about that tonight. Or maybe he's already done it. I don't know. Like I said, I've been off the internet a little bit. I've just been kind of memeing on Twitter and shit. What does Tipster cover? Say live for at least an hour. I'll give you an early release of my Def Noodles response. Oh, shit, dude. Boblax is on the case. Yeah, no, I think Tipster's got a stream coming out with like receipts about the Discord scandal. Were you ready for debate? Dude, I'm ready for the fucking debate. I'm fucking ready, dude. I'm all studied up and fucking ready to go. This shit needs to come now. Tipster got mod status for Eugenia's Twitch. Looked at the logs. There's no proof Belle actually had. Well, he's talking about Twitch though. They're talking about Discord. I've been looking forward to it. I've been trying to find a neutral party. Check the URLs. Yeah, it's her. Because she sent me a DM. You feeling hyped, doggy? Yeah. This will be better happen soon because I might have to end up doing this shit on the road. Because I leave for my trip on Wednesday morning. And I'm not getting back until like Halloween. So, but I am going to be streaming on the road. So, lol. Yeah, we can have Sandwich Man. He'll be the real moderator. Xander Hall can moderate. Late night Halloween stream. I'm probably not going to be streaming on Halloween. Ask Destiny. Ethan Ralph would be a good neutral host. Yeah, good one. Zerka. Edwin. Well, I had suggested Edwin initially, but I think I don't think he's a neutral host. I think he gave his opinion on it. So Xander Hall was high as fuck last night. Apparently Xander Hall keeps getting trolled. People keep sending him fucking Sonic songs to react to. It's really funny. FYI, the minor situation is very involved, like law enforcement is involved. Yeah, I just want more information on that because I'm a little bit confused. And I'm sure we'll get into that in the debate, but There's some confusing shit there. I'm gonna go make some coffee. I'll be right back. I don't mean to like cuck chat, but I need to get some fucking coffee. I'll moderate. Fuck yeah, dude. Get Willie Mack in there. He'll moderate. Get that shit going. I'll be right back. I need to get some coffee. Here's the deal, all right? I'm not a tea channel, all right? I'm a coffee channel.